Welcome to The Retro Adventurers, a podcast about classic text adventure games. This is Open Mailbox for June 2026, where you get news and listen to it. I am Jason Compton. Your anchors with me this month are Nick Moffat and Tim Gilberts. And Tim, you've got our top story this month. Take it away.
I have indeed. The Text Adventure Literacy Jam 2026, which of course hosted by Gary Francis. It should have finished the voting now for the 9 game submissions this year, and the real world prize is up to £200 for this annual game dev competition. It's designed for experienced authors who write games that are suitable for beginners to play, ensuring there are suitable in-game instructions to get the player started, etc. And this year's theme was archaeology and saw games written with Dialog, Quest.js, Adventuron, Tab Windows, Mad Candy Interactive Fiction Studio. That's a new one on me, I have to say. JavaScript and Inform 7. Nothing with poor Quill, I'm sorry, but there we go. So don't forget, since voting's going to close after this is released, you really need to go play them now.
Yeah, we have a couple of contests that are in that just about to wrap up mode, as Iron CHiF, which is the adventure coding contest inspired by Iron Chef and organized on the intfiction.org forum, is currently featuring a showdown based in IntroComp's Zill language, which frankly seems a little cruel, but I guess that is in spirit of the competition. The contests in this one are Max Fogg and Anno Brower. Fogg is perhaps best known as the person who took IntroComp's mothballed Magrathea game concept, the sequel to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that only exists in code fragments, and expanded it into a playable game with a defined beginning, middle, and end, and still keeping it all written in Zill. Brower, on the other hand, to look at his IFDB profile, appears to be more of a modern language choice-based game specialist. You can get in on the judging if you check out the forum between May 31st and June 2nd, however. In this contest, much like Iron Chef, where 2 contestants were told that they were going to have to prepare a meal with a secret theme ingredient revealed only when they had 1 hour left to cook. In this case, in the coding contest, it is an artifact that connects locations throughout time and space. In addition to playing the game, you can also participate in the metagame, which is a lot of audience participation in the style of the old Japanese cooking game show, where people are remarking on what the coders are doing. There's a lot of discussion about Zill language itself, so worth checking out these 2 games that are being put together on the fly, and you'll still have a chance to judge them by June 2nd.
Allez, cuisine! Frederick Ramsberg has begun comparing Inform 6 implementations of Crowther and Wood's groundbreaking Colossal Cave adventure for use as a benchmark when testing features in the PunyInform library on the Osmo Z machine interpreter. The tests are all performed on a reference Commodore 64 with an REU to help cache game data, ensuring that nasty IEC bus delays don't muddy the results. The Inform 6 standard library version comes in at 105 kilobytes, the PunyInform Z5 file at 79 kilobytes, and the PunyInform Z3 at 77 kilobytes. So, taking a micro benchmark very early in the game, he runs the command get lamp and keys, then drop all from the wellhouse. It shows the difference in the implementations. The PunyInform Z5 version completes this in 3.3 seconds, Puny Z3 in 5.2 seconds, and the Inform 6 standard library version takes a full 23.8 seconds. Similarly, an automated 167-move complete playthrough of the game takes 5 to 7 minutes under PunyInform, but over half an hour for the standard library implementation. Ramsberg claims all tests show a consistent speedup of 5 times for Z3, 7 times for Z5 PunyInform implementations. While he admits that the PunyInform version has been optimized specifically for size and speed, it also fully implements all 5 dwarves in the game engine, while the older Inform version reuses a single dwarf object. And the difference between the Z3 and Z5 versions of the game? Apparently that's almost entirely the effect of the Z5 scan_table opcode.
Now, a needed thing for all speedrunners of text adventures. Play it with PunyInform.
In other Ramsberg Report news, as that's what this show is, PunyInform version 6.6 has been released. This includes message optimizations to improve virtual memory behavior, speeding up the most common responses, bug fixes for the describe property, some custom grammar routines, and print or run return value semantics. If you are an eager Inform 6 developer, these things will make sense to you. And yes, we've heard, you can stop writing in, he has finally done it. PunyInform does now support the very popular Z4 Z machine format, truly going to be the year of Z4 for Osmo players.
We did it, guys. We finally did it.
Said.
It was created in the United States of America. That's a Z machine for me, guys.
Fine.
Fair enough. translated on behalf of all our other listeners. Anyway, talking about things created in America, the Visible Zork 3 is now available to the public. And through a quirk of scheduling, friend of the show, Andrew Zarf Plotkin, announced this between recording and releasing the previous Open Mailbox instalment. So, the Visible Zorker project continues apace, with Patreon supporters enjoying releases 3 months before the public at large. As before, the editorial position of this show is that this project is worth supporting with your donations. Supporters will be able to play visible versions of Deadline in June, Starcross in July, and Suspended in August. Ooh, I do like Suspended. I pulled my pack out for the C64 the other day. But this month, the rest of the world gets to see what patrons experienced in February. So get signed up, people. In his release blog post, Plotkin notes that the tone shift in Zork 3 compared to its predecessors almost predicts a similar move in Ultima 4, switching from cartoonish treasure hunting to a more sombre meditation on human virtue. And he takes a moment to celebrate that this project is a source of real joy for him in an increasingly dehumanising modern tech landscape. I agree with that one. But it's not all metaphysics. Zork 3's infamous Royal Room soccer band puzzle, initially the Chinese room on mainframe Zork, appears to have been credited in the source to one Will Weng. Who was Will Weng? Plotkin suspects it may have been the same person who served as New York Times crossword puzzle editor from 1969 to 1977. He has also been recreating some of the browsies from these games, and you can check out his recreation of the original maps from Suspended and Starcross via the links in the show notes, which I shall be jumping off to because I didn't look at them before I'd read that.
So this has been given to me, I assume, because of the pronunciation hurdles over here. But Daniel Seltzer announced the latest release of the Dialog and machine system originally developed by Linus Åkesson. This is officially called Dialog 1B/01, and it's the second community release since a coalition of folks organized by Seltzer have worked to refine this IF authoring solution. There are a number of improvements for developers, including improved documentation, player conveniences, including the introduction of a brief and super brief system, as found in older games, better text compression for Z machine output, and some important compiler bug fixes.
I think it's just that we should all get a chance at the pronunciation. So we should rotate that through episodes.
Here we look at a modern AI-developed adaptation to the C64 of the classic War of the Worlds story, providing a hybrid choice and parser by Michel Molinar. It has a numeric option list-based selection in places, especially with character interaction, and traditional text input in others, at which point it provides prompts for likely verbs. A short play shows it pretty atmospheric and in line with the original work. Some of the illustrations are really, really good. So this is a 0.9 release, which is looking for playtesters. It has a shortcut at the start to jump to particular scenes among the 5 acts and the epilogue to facilitate the testing. And as you know, a game lives by its initial playtesters. So if you want something a bit different and can give feedback, give it a go. It comes as 6 D64 disk images. Yes, 6. I got an error, buggy 1541 firmware error when I tried it on the next C64 core. That's going to be one to take back to the team. And the next also has a limit of 2 disks in his auto-swap list at the moment, so that would prevent me getting too far. But it worked fine in Vice, though, so easy to play with that way. And as soon as I repair my C64 that died in the first few hours of Zap, I can put it on my SD2 IEC with a swap list, and that does support more than 2 disks on swap. Never tried 6, because I don't think I've ever seen a 6-disc game in my use, but I'm going to give it a go and provide some feedback, which I'd encourage you to do.
Yeah, should be able to build a swap list in most tools. It's more than just 2 disks. Also in development, there's a modern paw-based adventure engine from Carlos Paramillo that allows full extraction from existing snapshot images, call it a super unquill, into a JSON database and a modern interpreter to run those extracted games. And what's especially clever is that he's implemented a semantic layer that translates natural language intent into the original rigid parser commands, which purports to solve the classic guess the verb frustration. He's building further on modern AI development assistance, which seems to be getting into a lot of places in IF development. And this use seems to be a clever system to leverage the facility to deliver modern style graphics based into older plot lines drawn as featured in the original PAW. And Tim broke this down for us, how the rendering engine works. It intercepts those early primitive commands from the original game logic, re-renders them into a modern vector canvas to maintain the original composition, uses image-to-image neural rendering to translate that wireframe and filled composition into a high-fidelity image in real time, or what appears to be real time to the player. And since it's following the original vector lines drawn by the author 30 or so years ago, maintains perfect compositional consistency while allowing you to switch visual styles between, say, pixel art and painting on the fly. Nothing you can download as yet, but looks like it will be an interesting developer blog to follow. You can find some examples on his itch.io page, along with a video, which is spoken in Spanish, that goes through the entire system as it stands at the moment. And his next goal says that it will be to write a system to create the JSON files directly rather than just extracting from PAW. In other news, there was a tool suite known as the Apple II Adventure Studio that is now known as the Text Adventure Studio. This name change driven by the change in scope, as now the system can produce both Commodore 64 disk images as well as the Apple output, and it seems that there's an intent to grow even further. That's in addition to options for online play, basic export, and of course the original direct creation of Apple II disk images. The site claims that over 90 text adventures have already been created with this system. If you want to see what it's all about, a good place to start is The Wizard's Wi-Fi, which is an example community game up on their site, which is now textadventurestudio.com.
And we have here Forgotten Nightmare, which is a Scott Adams-inspired title with modern conveniences and a Christian theme by Chris Radford. He was a great fan of the VIC-20 games by Scott back in the day. It features a hand-drawn auto map for navigation with a customizable display with default classic green or amber themes for those of you who partake in the Yospos Holy Wars.
Amber, 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 amber.
Very European of you.
Name a computer that I paid for that isn't in my house? Oh, the Spectrum Next. It's attracting a lot of attention and has spawned a few original traditional text adventures of its own. This release from Alan Pemberton is a conversion of his original 1990 nautical-themed game, The Voyage of the Beano, on the Sinclair QL, with updated graphics from Jarda Crayon Novotny, which really show off the Next graphics capabilities, or would if I had one in my house. If you have one in your house, you could use the new Sinclair QL Core to play the original as well.
The Spring Thing 2026 ribbons have been announced, and the Commodore 64 game, Latinorum, was awarded ribbons for Best Retro Game, Best Setting, and the appropriately in-universe Optimum Ludum. Yeah?
Yes, that's Latin, I believe,
Ludum,
for
yes.
Best Game.
Yes, Optimum Ludum.
Optimum
Yeah, Best
Ludum.
Game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. In addition, the main festival included 4 Inform games this year, and there was one TADS entry in the experimental back garden category. Finally, the coveted 2026 Best in Show ribbons went to 2 of those Inform games, suggesting that the alleged death of Parser IF was greatly exaggerated.
All right, and as one contest finishes, another begins. The 2026 IntroComp is kicking off.
Give it the kiss off.
You know, I'm going to leave that in. Kissing off? Why not? It's not a kiss off, I promise you.
It's the kiss test.
Right. If only Smooch's Collier were here.
Yeah.
The IntroComp is an annual contest with a multi-stage structure. In June and July, entrants submit demo excerpts of unfinished working games. Judges play these excerpts over the month of August and then vote and provide feedback in mid-September. Entrants then have until the next June to finish their games and qualify for prizes based on how their demos performed. At time of recording, the IntroComp organizers reported that 2 games from the 2025 set had released completed versions, and the 2026 competition should be underway by the time you hear this.
All right.
Excellent.
Time to put that leaflet in fireplace, open matchbook, get match, light match, and light leaflet, because that has been Open Mailbox for June 2026. Thank you for joining me, Jason Compton, along with Nick Moffat and Tim Gilberts. And thank you for listening, and keep the news tips coming, because without the lamplight of your inquiry, the adventurer dies in darkness. You have been listening to The Retro Adventurers, a podcast about classic text adventure games. This edition of Open Mailbox was produced by Jason Compton, Nick Moffat, and Tim Gilberts, and edited by Nick Moffat. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podcast Addict, and keep the conversation going on Discord, Facebook, and Blue Sky. The Retro Adventurers is based on a format originally devised by Ben Collier, Jason Compton, and Dave Hawkins.
Here under protest is beef burgers.